Ever spent a second thinking about what's actually holding up the road beneath you? The American Society of Civil Engineers just dropped a brutal wake-up call for the entire country. ASCE says 42% of U.S. bridges are at risk. That is a cold, terrifying stat. But the real kicker, the question you need to be asking yourself right now, is yours. Is your bridge going to collapse tomorrow? The very asphalt you drive on every single day with your kids in the back seat could be an invisible death trap of worn-out concrete. While Washington blows billions of your tax dollars on political vanity projects, America's vital arteries are literally rotting away in silence right under our noses. There's a hidden danger in your daily routine that nobody has the guts to talk about. To make sure you're not caught off guard by the next disaster, and to find out how to protect your family from this silent neglect, hit that subscribe button right now. We are on a massive push to hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers and bring you the raw, unfiltered truth about American infrastructure, making sure your right to commute safely isn't traded away by bureaucrats. Topic 1. The ASCE's diagnosis and the invisible reality of structurally deficient bridges in the U.S. Look, the truth is, most people drive over massive structures every day without giving a single thought to what's actually supporting their car. The latest report from the American Society of Civil Engineers dropped a bombshell that barely anyone noticed. Nearly half of all American bridges are in desperate need of repair. It's like living in a condo where almost half of the ceiling joists are quietly giving out. But everyone just keeps drinking their coffee in the living room like everything's totally fine. To really see what we're dealing with here, you don't have to look further than the historic collapse of the I-35W bridge in Minneapolis, or the more recent disaster with the Fern Hollow Bridge in Pittsburgh, which just came down on a regular winter morning. This kind of tragedy doesn't give you a heads up, and the average guy, stuck in the 8 a.m. rush hour, barely realizes that danger is literally beneath his feet. It's a textbook case of out of sight, out of mind neglect. A government cosmetic fix that prioritizes flashy new projects while the concrete foundations built back in the Eisenhower era are begging for help. This worn-out foundation, which carries everything from Ford F-150s to heavy-duty freight trucks, is running on fumes past its original 50-year design life. When engineers throw around the term structurally deficient, they aren't saying the bridge is going to collapse tomorrow morning. They mean a vital component is no longer doing its job. It's a game of Russian roulette with the calendar and with engineering, and the price for this political foot-dragging might end up being paid in the worst way possible. Topic 2. The anatomy of risk. What makes a bridge fail and how to spot the signs in your town. To truly wrap your head around this silent threat, you have to look at the tiny details that top-tier engineers try to decode every day. A bridge doesn't usually come crashing down because of one single issue. It's a vicious combination of metal fatigue, winter road salt corrosion, and the sheer force of water hammering the foundations. Take the infamous Silver Bridge in West Virginia, which collapsed back in the 60s, all because of a microscopic 2mm crack in a single critical eye bolt. That's the domino effect at its absolute worst, where the smallest blind spot can take down tons of steel. In the real world, the average citizen can start acting like a safety inspector for their own commute, just by keeping an eye out during their daily drive. When you pass underneath a local overpass, take a look and see if there are rusty reddish streaks bleeding through the concrete or if chunks of plaster are breaking off, exposing the rebar inside. These symptoms, which most people shrug off as just ugly maintenance issues, are actually the warning signs of engineering suffocating from old age and a chronic lack of specialized, preventative care. Folks living in Ohio or Pennsylvania knew how to read the technical logs of these structures. They'd realize that tons of local overpasses and bridges are operating under strict weight limits right now. When an Amazon or FedEx delivery truck has to go out of its way because the bridge ahead can't handle its load anymore, the collapse has already begun in slow motion. There is a reverse engineering of disaster happening right under our noses, and understanding how these things happen is the first step to staying out of the statistics. Topic 3. The daily hit to the wallet and routine of the average American, delays, detours, and the hidden cost of freight. A lot of people think infrastructure failure is a problem that only plays out on the evening news. But the reality is that it takes a bite out of the working man's wallet every single day. When a bridge on a crucial lifeline like I-95 in Philadelphia gets shut down, traffic gets dumped onto back roads, creating miles-long gridlock that steals precious family time. The average American wastes more gas idling in the cab of their truck than actually moving toward work, literally burning cash right through the tailpipe. This logistical nightmare triggers a relentless inflationary domino effect that hikes up prices on everything from a gallon of milk at the local Walmart to the tools you order at Home Depot for a weekend project. When major trucking companies have to take the long way around because of weight limits on aging bridges, they pass every single cent of that extra diesel cost right onto the price tag of the goods. It's an invisible tax levied on every American family, an inefficiency fee punishing hard-working people while engineering fixes keep getting shelved. Just look at what happens in rural areas across the Midwest, where closed-off secondary bridges force farmers to drive miles out of their way just to get their corn or soybean crops to the grain elevators. That wasted time, plus the accelerated wear and tear on tires and truck suspensions, eats right into the profit margins of the people feeding the country. Neglecting reinforced concrete isn't just about the physical risk of an accident. It's a constant, silent drain on the financial prosperity of the entire community. Topic 4. The infrastructure investment paradox, where your tax dollars are really going and the political weight behind it. There is a deep, frustrating contradiction at the heart of the world's biggest economic powerhouse when it comes to public funds. The American taxpayer watches a huge chunk of their hard-earned paycheck vanish into federal and state taxes every single pay cycle, all under the promise of world-class public services. Yet, while billions of dollars get approved in high-profile legislative packages over in Washington, the steel bridge you cross to drop your kids off at school just keeps rusting away in the rain. The big political machine absolutely loves breaking ground on flashy brand-new projects, like modern sports complexes or gleaming administrative buildings, because cutting red ribbons makes for a great photo op on the campaign trail. The problem is that doing preventative maintenance on support pillars submerged in muddy rivers doesn't rack up clicks on social media or win easy votes in the next November election. It's way more politically profitable for a mayor or a governor to promise a new tech park than to spend millions replacing corroded cables on an old viaduct. This warped sense of priorities creates a dangerous bottleneck where budgets are swallowed by heavy bureaucracy and vanity projects, leaving the country's vital lifelines on the back burner. Classic books on public economics, like Frederick Bastiat's The Law, warned us long ago about how governments constantly redirect resources from actual necessities to create a visible illusion of progress. While the political game prioritizes what looks good on paper, the concrete foundations keeping interstate commerce alive are running on absolute fumes. Topic 5. How the average Joe can audit local safety and hold officials accountable. When faced with a mess this big, the average guy usually feels completely helpless, thinking that high-level engineering is strictly for bureaucrats. But the truth is, the greatest strength of American democracy has always been active oversight and direct pressure from the grassroots level. The average citizen has some incredibly powerful digital tools at their fingertips, like the Federal Highway Administration's National Bridge Inventory, NBI database, where anyone can type in their zip code and check the exact safety rating of every overpass in their neighborhood. If you find out that the main bridge in your town is sitting on an alarming rating, you don't just sit back and complain. You use official channels to flood them with formal complaints. Tons of American counties and municipalities use local civic reporting apps that let you upload geotagged photos of cracks and crumbling concrete directly to the Department of Public Works. This is exactly the kind of digital and documented paper trail that transportation secretaries and mayors hate to ignore, because it establishes clear legal liability if something goes south down the road. Showing up and speaking out at local town hall meetings remains the most intimidating and effective way to squeeze real commitments out of elected officials. Walking in with a printed report packed with data from the American Society of Civil Engineers And demanding hard deadlines for inspections puts decision-makers right against the wall in front of the whole community. Fixing America's infrastructure doesn't require a miracle from Washington. It just takes the drivers of this country deciding that their family's safety is non-negotiable. Conclusion: lean in for a second, because government neglect only thrives when the average citizen decides to look the other way and accept danger as just another part of the scenery. Now that you know the inside scoop on this invisible risk and see exactly how your money gets siphoned off into useless vanity projects, the ball is entirely in your court. Are you going to keep crossing these condemned structures, just crossing your fingers and praying for a miracle? Or are you going to jump onto the National Bridge Inventory today to check out the safety of the route your family takes every single day? The greatest economic powerhouse on earth can't be built on concrete bases that are silently crying for help. It's time to stop being a passive spectator and become the most relentless inspector your community has ever seen. What about you? Is there a bridge or an overpass in your town that completely sketches you out every time you drive over or under it? Drop a comment down below with the name of the structure and your state, because your heads up could be the very spark that saves lives in your neighborhood. If you're ready to stop buying into empty political speeches and want to master the real mechanics behind American infrastructure, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. Your subscription gives this urgent cause a louder voice and gets us one step closer to exposing the truth that bureaucrats are trying to sweep under the rug.